Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. We'll begin in 2 minutes.
Samsung issued this updated warning, or whatever you want to call it, on their products that this may be happening. Sort of an ominously worded document, right?
It was a little ominous. It said, be careful about what you say in front of the television. Try not to have any sensitive conversations in your living room because the TV is going to be recording what you say.
If you just bought a smart TV, the FBI is also issuing a warning over those devices.
So what this means is I could be sitting here watching TV from my bedroom, and you could be anywhere in the world looking at this image of me watching.
Yep.
You've done everything right. Strong passwords, privacy settings, even tape over your webcam. You're careful with your phone and laptop, but there's one device you're probably never worried about. The smart TV sitting quietly in your living room. It plays your favorite shows, responds to your voice, and looks harmless, but behind that screen, it might be watching your back. In 2019, the FBI warned that smart TVs can be hijacked by hackers and even used to spy through built-in cameras and microphones. So if the threat is sitting right there in your home, the question is, how much of your life is being seen and sold without you knowing it?
Really scary stuff when it comes to these smart TVs.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Vlad. The last time I bought a phone that was a non-smartphone, it's a long time ago. Same thing with your television. And just like we have to lock our phones down and our home computers down, now we have to lock down all of these smart devices in our living rooms, including our televisions.
But while your attention is on the screen, your smart TV is doing more than just showing you content. It's quietly taking notes, snapping images of what's being displayed. Not a couple here and there, up to 30 full frames every minute, even if you haven't touched the remote. According to U.S. Patent 10,951,698b1, filed by Inscape Data Services, this isn't a hidden bug or random glitch. It's built into the system, part of a process called real-time visual sampling. Even when your TV appears to be in standby mode, it's still scanning what's on the screen and collecting that data. They call it smart interactivity. Sounds helpful, but not really for you.
Companies and identity thieves are targeting you. And the worst part? These criminals face zero consequences for what they're doing to you. The reality is, your personal information is out there, exposed and vulnerable. It's on you to protect yourself.
Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. I'm your host, Fearless Floyd. Thank you for watching. Get my camera up here near me. Thank you for spending your Saturday night here with little old me talking about stuff that really doesn't matter, right? You know, who gives a shit if your television and that television remote that's laying in the middle of the bed in between you and your significant other, where you have your most intimate conversations, that remote, the one that you pick up and you go, I want to watch dogs playing in water. Cool. Oh, by the way, when you go by the bank in the morning, nah. Y'all go watch some UFC or something, right? That shit doesn't matter in life. Well, folks, oh, Jesus. What a rabbit hole I fell in. Where this is going is otherworldly. That's about as best as I can describe it without calling it insane, because it's not quite insane because it's reality. But then again, it's kind of a false reality because it's your digital twin. And we're going to get into all of this. What is your TV actually doing to you? And the remote that goes with it, that smart remote. You know, they're more than grateful to give you all the remotes and the little controller boxes that you want. Why? Because now they've got the microphone right next to you, if not in your hand. And you're sitting there watching the game, clicking through all the games, the sports show. Well, okay, we know this person likes to watch sports. And from this block of time on this particular day, we know exactly where he's going to be or she's going to be, etc., etc. So as I get more into this video, and let me get the balance of it queued up. You're going to see what your TV actually does, actually how smart your TV is and how clever your TV is. And then we're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. And as we continue on this journey, you're going to see that, you heard it here first, humanity, the human race, humanity is going to surrender or is going to surrender its soul for convenience into a digital realm. I see no other direction other than that, where humanity and digital technology merge into one hybrid. I mean, genetically modified organism, you know, because, and we're going to get into more of that. Yeah, you know, when I was discussing complementary and synthetic DNA that, once that happens to an organism, it becomes a genetically modified organism, a GMO, which means that particular item, product, person, animal, plant, get the picture, becomes patentable technology. Yeah, it's a product now. It can be bought, sold, traded, whatever your heart's desire, even eaten. No, nobody would like turn people into a product and eat them. That'd be cannibalism. That obviously doesn't exist in society, right? There are no restaurants, no Michelin, no 5-star, 4-star restaurants out there serving humans to people, right? Well, like I like to do, just go do the math and try to figure out, they're selling all beef patties and they're a quarter pound each. They're short some cows. I wonder what they put in there to make up the difference. It definitely wasn't humans, because humans don't eat humans. That's like sacrilegious, immoral, unethical, maybe? I don't know. Jeffrey Dahmer's alive. We could call him and ask him, right? We have him on the show. He can tell us all about it. But this is where we're going, folks. It's kind of, it's so surreal to gain this knowledge and see where we're going and how fast we're going and all the different resources. Some are talking to each other, some aren't, and it's incredible. So what I decided to do, there's some very strong universities that surround me. Rice University, University of Houston, University of Texas, Texas Southern University, Houston Baptist University, what's the other one? Houston Christian University. There's a bunch of universities here, believe it or not. And I know U of H and Rice, both, they're usually competing neck and neck in the technological field. Both have had major breakthroughs in their research departments. So I decided, hey, let's go see what I can find local, or if I need be, I can go meet these people. I can go look at their lab. I can go record all that. I can have a sit down face-to-face conversation and really get into what they can talk about if they want to talk about. Usually those folks, because, they're, no offense, geeks, nerds, they don't get out in front of the spotlight much. Some may want to talk and never shut up. So I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I found it pretty interesting. So I've already initiated several things. So we'll see what happens over the weekend. All right, well, I'm going to get back to the video, and I'm going to tell you just how smart and clever your television is. And after this video, you're like, man, should I throw a sheet over my TV? Exactly how do I stop this? Well, guess what? You can't. Because if you follow my show, if you follow me, if you listen to me, if you watched a few of my shows, I'm telling you, okay, every smart device you have, they're all connected. Every app you have on every one of those devices, doesn't matter if it's a refrigerator, a wearable watch, a laptop, a pad, a phone, if it's a smart device and it can communicate, there's an application on there. Okay, you have Amazon on your phone, you have Amazon on your laptop, you have Amazon on your pad, you have Amazon on your television. All of those devices are communicating with each other through Amazon. And not only that, but they're talking to the other apps. and they're capturing your data and they're sending it all to each other in this big neural web, this network. Okay. If you looked at it, it would look just like this mass of just all these strings that are crisscrossing and connecting. And yeah, that's your digital DNA. That's your digital footprint. That's your digital twin. Because see, now the technology is just so badass that literally there's a simulated universe or realm, dimension, whatever you want to call it, world, okay, of everything that you do by predictable behavior through artificial intelligence, where they've created a digital twin. Absolutely. So everything that we do on a smart device or around a smart device, okay? Around a smart device. It doesn't have to be on. Your laptop doesn't have to be open. Your phone doesn't, can just be sitting there. Your remote can just have an inch of dust on it. As long as that battery's still hot, it's still listening to you. Right beside your head. I know you push the button until the microphone comes on the screen, and then it says, yeah, what you want, baby? Right? Well, it's just acknowledging that you pushed the button. That's all it's doing. It's always on. 24/7, 365. Artificial intelligence never sleeps. We're going down a road, folks, and it's going to be a very rocky road. Okay, it's going to look smooth, it's going to feel smooth, but it's not. If you've read everything that I've read, watched everything that I've watched, dove as deep as I can dive so far, and I'm no, I'm not a genius because I don't have a 145 or better IQ. I'm freaking close, but I'm not there. So I'm not quite in that upper category. I can hang with them, but some of them just, my daughter's one of those. She's pretty special in her own right. But I'm trying to learn as much as I can as I go. If you'd have told me 40 years ago, hey, dude, you're going to be like researching nanotechnology and all these other technologies on the atomic and subatomic level, because that's the only way I can describe it, because femto and pico technology, I'm sorry, I had that backwards, pico and femto technology, respectively, don't exist. You can believe what you want to believe, okay, folks, but it exists. It's a thing, and yeah. So let's finish our video here.
What this means is I could be sitting here watching TV from my bedroom, and you could be anywhere in the world looking at this image of me watching.
Yep, I could be sitting on a laptop in a cafe in Paris, and as long as I have a network connection, I'd be able to get into your TV and access the camera.
The kind of scary things about it is that it doesn't actually give any indication that the camera's on, and there's no little LED that shows up when the camera's on. So it could actually be watching you and you never even know.
Do you know that we all have a secret digital profile collected by our two smart TVs? So how exactly does our TV know so much about us? It all comes down to something called ACR, or automatic content recognition. This technology is built right into many smart TVs, and it's far more powerful than most people realize. ACR works by not only taking screenshots, but also listening to the audio coming from your screen. Then it compares that content to a massive database of shows, ads, and scenes to figure out exactly what you're watching and when. It's not just about knowing the channel or app. You're being tracked down to the second.
There are also reports that smart TVs themselves are watching what you do and reporting the data back to the company that made the devices. So what kind of information are they using?
Well, just think about your phone and all of the important information that's available on your phone created by applications. So on your smart TV, there might be Netflix, there might be YouTube, and all of these applications, just like the apps on your phone, they talk to not just the device maker back home, but they talk to each other and they send information between each other. So much of that information is just as vulnerable as anything on your phone. And if it has your TV has a weak or non-existent password, all of that information is accessible by cyber attackers.
According to Dr. Peter Snyder's 2021 research at Brave, ACR doesn't just collect what you stream online. It can also grab data from what you watch through HDMI, like DVDs or game consoles. So even if you're playing an offline video game or watching an old disc, your TV still knows what's going on and logs the details. A 2018 report from UC Berkeley, titled Watching You Watch, confirmed that ACR was present in millions of TVs from brands like Vizio, Samsung, and LG. What's worse is that these hidden features are often turned on by default, with opt-out settings hidden behind vague or misleading menu options. You thought you brought home a television to watch content, but what you really brought home was a two-way system, one that watches you back constantly and builds a detailed profile of your habits, preferences, and routines, even your banking credentials. It does it without ever needing your permission.
Conceivably, what could they be using this data for?
Well, for the same data, the same reason you might want to siphon information off of your phone, that's pretty useful not just to hackers, but to big data companies. However, what's really interesting is this new practice called cookie syncing. That is when I have a cookie that's a little piece of data on my computer or my phone that identifies my browser and what I'm doing on that phone or with the applications. I can then sign into accounts. Those accounts I'm also signed into on my television. And it lets me, or it lets device makers sync the information between my TV, my phone, and my computer, so you can have a pretty good idea of who someone is and their habits.
But the real danger is when people start using smart TVs for things like online banking, we can take a popular bank address and translate that into a different IP address to a site that directs to a site that we control. So it may look like your bank's login, but you're actually entering a username and password that goes to us instead of your bank.
Once your smart TV collects all that data, it doesn't just sit there, it travels. That information gets sent off, packaged into a neat little profile with your habits, interests, and behaviors, and enters a marketplace most people don't even know exists.
That data then sits there, and it sits there for another company to use, perhaps through advertising. There's an advertising component to all of this. It sits there to be hacked at some point later on in the future, and it sits there for the government to access it should they decide to do that.
That same study estimated that your viewing profile can sell for anywhere from $5 to $15, depending on how detailed and targetable it is. The study also found that children's viewing data is especially valuable because the advertisers use it for something called early behavioral modeling. Basically, by studying what kids watch now, they try to predict and influence how they'll behave in the future. That kind of data can drive ad prices up by as much as 30%. A 2022 report from the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, or CRTC, showed that 70% of people had no idea this was happening at all. No clue their movie nights were turning into marketable data. With a smart TV, you're not just a viewer anymore. You've become a product, quietly sold to the highest bidder every time you hit play. For years, smart TV companies quietly collected data while no one was really paying attention. But in 2017, things started to unravel. That year, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, filed a complaint against Vizio, one of the biggest smart TV manufacturers in the US. The FTC revealed that 11 million Vizio TVs had been collecting detailed viewing data, down to what shows were watched and when, and selling it to third parties. What made it worse? They did it without ever getting clear consent from users. In the end, Vizio settled the case, agreeing to pay $2.2 million and delete all the data they had just gathered. This made headlines for exposing just how far this kind of surveillance had already gone.
The FTC and the New Jersey Attorney General's office reached an understanding with Vizio. The TV manufacturer is going to pay $2.2 million in a settlement after the FTC found the TV manufacturer had used 11 million of its TV sets to spy on the owners of those sets.
I want you to do the math on that. All right. 11 million television sets, which means 11 million data points or accounts or digital profiles, right? And they paid out $2.2 million. So if they sold that 11 million digital DNA profiles for $1 a piece, they made $11 million, and then they settled for $2.2 million. That's a freaking bargain. Let's do that all day long, every day, right? And even if we get caught, it's affordable.
But that wasn't the end of it. In 2020, things got heated again with a multi-district class action against LG, Samsung, and Sony. Plaintiffs argued that these companies were violating the Video Privacy Protection Act, as well as various state-level consumer privacy laws. People weren't just upset about being watched, they demanded compensation. The lawsuit claimed that each affected person should be paid $100 for every day their privacy was violated, with a maximum payout of $10,000 per person. Meanwhile, overseas, regulators also started digging. In 2023, the European Data Protection Board, or EDPB, launched investigations into firmware updates by Samsung and LG that were silently resetting privacy settings, turning tracking features back on after users had opted out. All of this caught the attention of digital rights advocates. Jeff Chester, director of the Center of Digital Democracy, testified before Congress in 2020. He called smart TV tracking the most invasive, invisible form of commercial surveillance today. And honestly, it's hard to disagree with that. Now, you think after government investigations and multi-million-dollar fines, these companies would back off. But the truth is, the tracking never really stopped. Your TV keeps working silently in your living room.
Marketers are more committed to developing data analysis skills in coming years than social media skills.
Turning off tracking on your smart TV might feel like you're taking control, but it's not as solid as it seems. The truth is, most opt-out settings aren't really built to protect you. They're built to look like they are. A 2022 study published in the journal Technology and Privacy found that just getting to the privacy settings usually takes 8 to 10 clicks, buried deep inside menus that most people never even explore. And even if you manage to find and switch everything off, the protection might only be temporary. According to the 2023 Privacy Reset study by University College London, around 60% of major smart TV brands silently turn tracking features back on after firmware updates. No pop-ups or prompts. It just quietly resets in the background.
Well, what's going on when you're talking to the television is that it's capturing your voice and translating it into text through a third party, through another company, and then trying to send the control back to the television. The problem is that when you have that sort of software and the microphone on all the time, it's collecting a lot of information about what you might say in the privacy of your own living room.
TV makers defend this behavior with legal loopholes. They often redefine personal data in their terms of service, conveniently excluding things like your viewing history or HDMI input metadata. That means they can keep logging what you watch even after you've opted out, and still claim they're respecting your privacy. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF, calls this practice consent washing, a legal trick to give you the illusion of choice while quietly ignoring it. So when you click off, your TV might still be tracking, analyzing, and sharing your behavior like nothing ever changed. Even if you somehow have managed to block tracking on your smart TV, the moment you open Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime, the data collection kicks back in. These services build full behavioral profiles, and they start doing it the second you log in. Netflix, for example, gives you the option to hide your viewing history, but it doesn't delete anything. According to their 2022 transparency report, the information stays on their servers, helping power the recommendation engine and targeted ads.
In a statement to CNN Money, Samsung says it takes consumer privacy very seriously. The camera can be turned into the bezel of the TV so that the lens is covered or disabled by pushing the camera inside the bezel. The TV owner can also unplug the TV from the home network when the smart TV features are not in use. As an added precaution, we also recommend that customers use encrypted wireless access points when using connected devices.
Amazon Prime Video has a setting to turn off interest-based ads, which sounds promising, but in reality, all it does is stop the ads from being tailored to your behavior. It doesn't stop Amazon from collecting the data in the first place. Hulu, too, technically gives users control, but the full privacy settings are tucked away under California privacy rights, a section most users will never even click. And then there's a bigger problem: cookie syncing and account linking. A 2021 audit by Northeastern University found that major streaming platforms sync your user ID across devices, your phone, your laptop, your smart TV. So even if you delete your history in one place, another device might still hand it back over. Most people think the worst thing their smart TV can do is show them weird ads, but the truth is a lot more serious. These TVs can actually open the door to real security risks. According to a 2020 report by Checkpoint Research, many smart TVs ship with weak factory default credentials like admin or 0000. That means anyone who knows your brand, and most hackers do, can break in remotely with hardly any effort. Models with voice control and gesture features often come in with built-in microphones and hidden cameras. You might not even realize it, but if those sensors aren't secured, They can be activated without your knowledge. A 2022 study by Carnegie Mellon University warned about unauthorized sensor access caused by unpatched or poorly designed firmware. They are trying to tell us that our smart TV could be a backdoor into our home.
Samsung issued this updated warning, or whatever you want to call it, on their products that this may be happening. Sort of an ominously worded document, right?
It was a little ominous. It said, be careful about what you say in front of the television. Try not to have any sensitive conversations in your living room, because the TV is going to be recording what you say and sending that data off to another company.
And once inside, it doesn't stop at the TV. Hackers have used smart TVs as an entry point to tap into home Wi-Fi networks, then move on to more sensitive devices like smartphones, your laptop, or even baby monitors. That's why even people like Mark Zuckerberg and former Google engineers physically cover their cameras and mics. It's not an overreaction, it's basic protection.
Are we in 1984 yet? I know a lot of people that they're sitting around, man, and they've been waiting day after day after day, and they've been like predicting and parroting that they're waiting for the emergency broadcast system, that emergency broadcast announcement, right? They're waiting for their 1984 TV to come talk to them and go, "Hi, this is your government." Right? It's a scary world. So I don't mean to terrify anybody, but it is what it is. So let's. God, man, I got a lot to cover. I really do. All right. I'll get to that one. Whew, man. All right. We're going to go look at this. And I'm covering this because right now I'm just going to try to stay on the topic of smart devices. Okay. So we already know smart TV, discuss that. We already know what smart TV allegedly is doing. So smart devices. Okay. It's not just your washing machine and dryer and your oven and your refrigerator, maybe even a microwave. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I don't use microwaves, so I wouldn't know. But it's a potentiality, and that could even go with, a blender, to where you have some app and you put in the recipe, tell you put a cup of this, cup of that, cup of this, 2 teaspoons of that, blah, 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 and you got a willy foo-foo. Smart devices. So we're going to go look at a smart device. Now, I don't know if, it doesn't affect me because of my gender. I'm a male. This goes for female. So being a female, for me, convenience over humanity. Convenience over security. Convenience over your own digital DNA. Let's go see what this looks like, Floyd. And let me go hit the original. Ta-da! And this is by Alexandra Becker. And this is in the Rice University. This is from May 14th, 2025. A new wearable removes the guesswork from breastfeeding. Rice engineer Rodel Avila collaborates on research to develop a comfortable device that measures baby's milk intake in real time, folks. Real time. Let's go check this out. I wonder how long this is. Hopefully it's not too long. 2 minutes.
Breastfeeding for moms can be extremely emotional, in part due to the amount of uncertainty surrounding breastfeeding. Currently, there is not a great way to know how much babies are getting when they're breastfeeding. Today alone, on rounds with my patients, there were 3 separate occasions that came up where moms made a comment about being frustrated about not being able to measure how much milk their baby was getting.
So it's a very small module that wirelessly passes data that's being collected from electrodes that are placed on the breast. And it measures a voltage drop associated with passage of that current through the breast. And then that data is aggregated in this small module, and then it's passed via a Bluetooth wireless link to a smartphone. The mother then can just watch on her phone how much milk is passing from her breast to her baby. So it's quite a simple device to use and to interact with. And I think it really addresses what was presented to us as a really critical clinical need for new mothers, especially in the context of premature babies.
When I had Amelia and she was under 5 pounds, I was nervous that we would have to go back to the hospital if she didn't gain weight. And so although I felt like she was still thriving, I knew that she needed to continue to eat and get stronger and bigger. To know how much food and how much breast milk she was getting in the first few days of her life would have been really beneficial and helped us become better parents. I'm a mother of 3. I have a 7, 5, and almost 2-year-old. In an age that feels very data-driven, I think that it's important for us to know what our babies are eating. That helps us feel in control of our children and their nutrients.
I think from the standpoint of fundamental science and practical clinical utility, clinical grade measurements and accuracy, applicability not only in the NICU and a home setting, this is unique as far as we know.
For all moms across, the world and in all different stages of their breastfeeding journey, this can be super helpful, and we're just really looking forward to being able to bring this to more people.
So basically, that wrapped up that. But here's the rest of the article. This is what the device looks like, and of course, it's connected to a smartphone, a smart device via Bluetooth. They covered all. Basically, I'm not going to repeat all this. There is Rodel Avila. So, like I said, I don't know. And here is Alexandra Becker. She's a media relations specialist in Rice University's Office of Public Affairs. So, I can't tell you really how I would feel about that if I was a female, but, I'm sure I've got some females in here, leave a comment below. Tell me what you would do in that situation, and I found it not quite ironic, but the fact that she says, hey, we want to know the nutrition of what our children are consuming, but boom, it ends right after that. What are you getting ready to put them on after that? A whole bunch of garbage food that's, processed, highly processed food, full of toxins and poisons. It's real crazy. All right, so I covered that one. Let me knock that out of there. So we got that one. Yeah. Now, staying with smart devices. Okay. This is a smart device, but on the other end of the spectrum. Okay. I'm going to show you. Now, let's just say they have a sensor, one sensor in this huge system. If you've watched my videos in the past, okay, one of those we profiled how deep 80 feet was, and then below that, okay, because once you got down to that 80-foot level, that's when your main sewer lines, because we were talking about Houston, Texas. So down there is that big main pipe. Well, if they put a sensor down there, they could pretty much capture in real time and test for certain things. So, if you put sensors in that whole system and, you work your way up from 80 feet down all the way up to, let's just say we're going to pick a neighborhood. You follow me? So let's go see what this looks like. And again, this is all some real-time stuff happening right now. So it's interesting to see the technology that this is real time. This is in use right now. We're going to read let's go look at the original. Here we go again with Alexandra Becker. This is from April 7th, 2025. Rice researchers partnering with Houston Health Department on wastewater surveillance to stay ahead of measles outbreak. What? Wastewater surveillance? Well, what does that look like, Floyd? Because damn, now I can get a urinalysis on me. I can actually get a cancer health screen, right? By my wastewater surveillance. As measles cases rise across Texas and the nation, and never let a good catastrophe go to waste. Oh, did I say that out loud? God, I'm thinking out loud again. I've got to stop doing that. It's interrupting the narrative, correct? Let me start over again. As measles cases rise across Texas and the nation, a team of researchers at Rice University and the Houston Health Department is leveraging wastewater surveillance to detect the virus in the community. This innovative approach is part of the Houston wastewater epidemiology system and offers public health officials a powerful early warning system to track outbreaks and mobilize targeted interventions. The Houston Wastewater Epidemiology Core Team consists of interdisciplinary experts, including Lauren Stadler, Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering, Catherine Ensor, the Noah G. Harding Professor of Statistics, and Lauren Hopkins, Chief Environmental Scientist at the Houston Health Department and Professor in the Practice of Statistics and Environmental Analysis at Rice University. Houston wastewater epidemiology has been at the forefront of its field since the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, and its work has contributed to developing one of the most advanced monitoring systems in the country. Houston Wastewater Epidemiology is also a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention designated National Wastewater Surveillance System Center of Excellence, supporting research and innovation in wastewater surveillance nationwide, folks. Nationwide. Like I said, no, I was thinking out loud and said it out loud, and I don't know. I'm all confused now. With infectious diseases like COVID-19, flu, RSV, wastewater surveillance has proven to be an efficient, timely, and resource-effective tools, Stadler said. Now, with measles cases on the rise, we're using the same approach to detect the presence of this highly contagious virus in Houston's wastewater before outbreaks occur. Okay. Well, what's in your excrement? Whether it is, fecal matter or urine. DNA. Ooh, really? So they can capture that in mass and actually run it through and get a DNA profile. Yeah, you could do that, Floyd. And you could match it against other DNA databases. Ooh, yeah, that's a thing, Floyd. And as you apply the sensors closer and closer to the main source, you can. No, there's no such thing as surveillance states, folks. That's a misnomer. With infectious diseases like COVID-19, flu, RSV, wastewater surveillance is proven to be an efficient, timely, and resource-effective tool, Stabler said. Now, with measles cases on the rise, we are using the same approach to detect the presence of this highly contagious virus in Houston's wastewater before outbreaks occur. Proven early detection capabilities. Recent findings from Houston Wastewater Epidemiology's collaboration with Texas Epidemic Public Health Institute, Texas Epidemic Public Health Institute, which I never heard of, confirm the effectiveness of wastewater surveillance for measles. In January 2025, Houston Wastewater Epidemiology respectively tested wastewater samples collected across the city and analyzed them for measles. Wastewater collected on January 7th tested positive for measles, while the first confirmed case was not officially reported until January 17th, Stadler said. The cases were travel related and did not lead to an outbreak, but our detection validates the power of wastewater surveillance as a potential early warning tool. And here is Lauren Boz, Xijing Wu, and Lauren Stadler. That's the one who's making the quotes here. With measles actively circulating in Texas, the Houston Wastewater Epidemiology Team, can we just say HWE, has expanded monitoring across the city. A third case of measles was recently reported in Houston in March. An unvaccinated infant who was exposed to measles during international travel. No wastewater detections have been reported that are associated with this case since the patient wore diapers and was unlikely to be directly contributing to the wastewater stream. We're in full preparedness mode, Hopkins said. If measles reaches Houston, wastewater surveillance will help detect resources to impacted communities and encourage vaccinations. The measles, mumps, rubella MMR vaccine has been in use for decades. One dose provides 93% protection, while two doses offer 97% protection. I wonder what these statistic people have to say about that, whether the risk for side effects for that extra 4% getting another dose. I wonder. Well, I'm just asking questions, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to question authority, question these results and findings that, is this really safe and effective? Is it actually even needed? Or is this just another technological overreach that, this vaccine is incredibly safe and highly effective, Hopkins said, with such a contagious virus. It is critical that we get immunization rates back up to protect our communities. How wastewater surveillance detects measles. Stadler's lab has developed highly sensitive assays to detect measles viruses in wastewater. The process begins with collecting wastewater samples from Houston's 38 wastewater treatment plants, as well as from targeted sites that serve especially vulnerable populations, such as K through 12 schools, nursing homes, and homeless shelters. Once collected, the samples are concentrated to isolate the viral genetic material. Researchers then use droplet digital polymerase chain reaction technology to amplify the virus's unique RNA signature, allowing for precise detection. A key breakthrough in Stadler's method is the ability to distinguish between wild type measles, which signals infectious cases, and the vaccine strain, preventing false alarms from vaccine related shedding. A recent paper published in Environmental Science and Technology outlines how a team led by Jijing Wu, a postdoctoral scholar in Stadler's lab, and members of Todd Tregan's group in the computer science department at Rice developed and validated an assay to differentiate these strains in wastewater with an eye toward enhancing surveillance of vaccine-preventable diseases. Stadler's lab successfully validated the assay using wastewater from a Chicago facility during an active measles outbreak. When people get the measles vaccine, they shed an unattenuated, non-infectious version of the virus, Stadler said. Our lab developed a method to differentiate between vaccine-derived shedding and actual measles infections, which is critical for accurate and timely public health responses. Why wastewater surveillance matters. And here's another image of Lauren. Measles, which was declared eliminated in the U.S. in 2000, has resurged due to declining vaccination rates, with misinformation largely driving this trend. National immunization levels have dipped below the 95% threshold required for herd immunity, putting children and vulnerable populations at increased risk. Texas has already reported numerous confirmed measles cases, including the deaths of 2 unvaccinated children. Measles is extremely contagious, even more contagious than COVID-19, Stadler said. With vaccination rates dropping, we have been preparing for an uptick in outbreaks. Wastewater surveillance allows us to track infections without requiring individuals to seek testing, making it an unbiased and privacy-protected method for public health monitoring. Unlike clinical reporting, which depends on symptomatic individuals seeking medical attention, wastewater surveillance captures data from an entire community, detecting viruses shed through urine and feces. The method allows researchers to identify infections and, in some instances, before individuals show symptoms or visit healthcare providers, enabling early intervention. You want me to repeat that? The method allows researchers to identify infections, in some instances before the individuals even know that, hey, I'm feeling kind of bad, maybe, possibly. Or before they even feel that, they go to the healthcare provider to get some kind of relief for their symptoms. But without all that, in some instances, they can identify the infection and they can go do early intervention. The Houston Wastewater Epidemiology Team is available for interviews about wastewater surveillance for the infectious diseases. For inquiries or to schedule an interview, please contact Alex Becker at, there you go. Well, you think I pulled the trigger? I pulled the trigger. All right, where's that one at? I've got so many of these popped open. I've got to go. I've got to close them as I do them. I've got too many open. All right, y'all. Let's continue, folks. We're only at an hour, so. In this, listen, okay? I'm in the rabbit hole and I moved an inch. everything about this show, I moved an inch. This isn't like I spent all day searching for information. No. This is mainly all the articles or subjects covered by one author, Alex. I didn't get over into the other ones, and there's more. I'm not even done with Rice University per se. Like I said, I didn't even move an inch. I was like, Jesus. I haven't even gotten through her. I haven't even got to all of 2025 articles published by Alex. I'm up to like, I don't know, I think March, maybe February. Before I was like, man, I've got enough right here. I don't need any more. I've got plenty on my plate. Not only on my plate, our plate. So, as I mentioned, RNA, right? Here we go. Rice research team creates universal RNA barcoding system for tracking gene transfer in bacteria. Oh no, this could no. That's not a bad thing, Floyd, is it? Again, Honorable Alexandra Becker. Thank you. This is from March 18th. Rice research team creates universal RNA barcoding system for tracking gene transfer in bacteria. Okay. New method has far-reaching applications in medicine, biotechnology, and environmental science. And this was here, Rice News. There you go. This is a stock photo of a DNA double helix. So while we're here, let's examine this DNA strand. So, you know, we're all familiar with this. You know, these are little strands, and this is like one section, and this is another little section, right? And these are all different, and all these different sequences of these things, these little crossbars here, denote your genetic structure, you know, your makeup, whether you have light skin, dark skin, pale skin, blonde hair, brown hair, white hair, etc., etc. So when something comes into your body, and, you know, we know this is the molecular level, right? Molecules and then atoms, right? Well, you know, molecular is the nano level. That's the nanoscale. Then we get to the pico, which is the atomic level. Atom. No, not that atom. Not Adam and Eve. And then below that, we have the pico, or I'm sorry, the femto, which is the subatomic. Okay, so if they have little biobots, okay, and it doesn't matter which technology it is, we already know they're using the molecular, which is nano, right? So what happens if, you know, these guys come cruising in here and they just like, okay, we're going to take that guy out right there. We're going to go take this guy out right over here. And then we're going to self-assemble and boom. And we're going to be synthetic DNA. Ha! Right? Yeah, we're DNA. Yay! But now you're genetically modified organism. Well, let's go see what's going on in this article, Floyd. In the microscopic world of bacteria, gene transfer is a powerful mechanism that can alter cellular function, drive antibiotic resistance, and even shape entire ecosystems. Sorry, I had to drink something real quick. Now, an interdisciplinary group of researchers at Rice University has developed an innovative RNA barcoding method to track these genetic exchanges in microbial communities, providing new insights into how genes move across species. These findings were recently published in Nature Biotechnology. We've long known that bacteria swap genes in ways that impact human health, biotechnology, and environmental stability, said James Chappell, Associate Professor of Biosciences and Bioengineering. But mapping which microbes participate in gene transfer has been challenging. This new technique gives us a direct way to record this information inside the cells themselves. This new technique gives us a direct way to record this information inside the cells themselves. Okay. Traditional methods for studying gene transfer involve labeling mobile genetic elements with fluorescent proteins or antibiotic-resistant genes. While effective, these approaches require isolating and growing microbes in a lab, limiting their use in complex environments. To address this challenge, an interdisciplinary team of research labs at Rice's Chappell, Jeff Silberg, and Lauren Stabler again created a new synthetic biology tool. They created a what, Floyd? A new synthetic biology tool. This team was composed of Matthew Dysart, Chiara Reyes Gamez, Lauren Gambill, Freshant Kavapale, Li Chi Lu, and August Strabus. If I massacred your name, I apologize. Hopefully you can meet with me and you can pronounce it. The Rice team's new method called RNA-addressable modification, or RAM, bypasses these hurdles by using a synthetic catalyst RNA, cat RNA, to barcode ribosomal RNA or RNA inside living cells. Would you like me to repeat that? Everybody meet RAM, R-A-M. RNA addressable modification. RNA addressable modification. Genetically modified organism. Let's go back. RAM bypasses these hurdles by using a synthetic catalyst RNA, cat RNA. Not complementary, not cDNA. Nope. Not synthetic DNA. Nope. We got a new one, folks. Cat DNA. To barcode ribosomal RNA inside living cells. By writing genetic information directly into the 16S RNA, a molecule universally found in bacteria, the researchers could track which microbes acquired foreign DNA without disrupting their natural environment. Additionally, as targeted sequencing of 16S RNA, or rRNA, is the gold standard for identifying different species of bacteria. This method can leverage established and easy-to-use protocols and analysis software. This is a game changer for creating a mobile DNA atlas, said Silberg, the Stewart Memorial Professor of Biosciences and Professor of Bioengineering. Instead of writing information randomly in bacterial DNA, which is permanent and arduous to read out, we write information in a region of RNA that is highly conserved across the tree of life, making the information cheap and easy to read out. To achieve this, the researchers designed a small ribosome-based RNA molecule, also called catalytic RNA, that attached a unique barcode to 16S rRNA upon gene transfer. This cat RNA was introduced into a model microbial community using conjugative plasmids, which are naturally occurring gene carriers in bacteria. The experiment involved introducing these barcoding plasmids into E. coli donor bacteria which then transferred their genetic material to various microbes in a wastewater community. Do you see where this is going? After 24 hours, the researchers extracted total RNA and sequenced the barcoded 16S rRNA. What we saw was remarkable, said Stadler, Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering. Around half the bacterial taxa in the wastewater community could pick up the plasmids, giving us a detailed map of horizontal gene transfer events. The study also showed that RAM can be used to measure differences in host ranges between DNA plasmid types. With tens of thousands of different DNA plasmids found in natural environmental microbes, RAM provides an easy and cost-effective method to begin to understand the relationship between plasmids and their hosts. RAM can be used to track the movement of multiple genetic elements across an entire microbial community, Chappell said. This allowed us to track the movement of multiple plasmids in a single experiment and could be extended to study the dynamics of plasmid transfer in microbial communities, the intersections between mobile and genetic elements. The RAM method has possible far-reaching applications in medicine, biotechnology, and environmental science. One of the most pressing concerns is antibiotic resistance, as tracking how resistant genes spread in hospitals and wastewater could help predict and prevent outbreaks of drug-resistant infections. In the field of bioremediation and waste management, this technology has the potential to engineer microbiomes that efficiently break down pollutants while ensuring that beneficial genetic modifications remain contained. Additionally, in synthetic biology and biotechnology, the ability to program microbiomes for specific tasks, such as producing biofuels or pharmaceuticals, relies on safe and controlled gene transfer. The potential here is enormous, Stadler said. We now have a way to study how bacteria share genes in their natural habitat without needing to grow them in the lab. That opens the door for a new wave of microbial research and synthetic biology applications. In the future, this barcoding technique could also be expanded and applied to other forms of gene exchange, such as transduction via bacteriophages and transformation, direct DNA uptake, additionally optimizing cat RNA stability and increasing the number of unique barcodes could allow even finer resolution in tracking microbial interactions. With further development, RNA barcoding could become a universal tool for storing information in environmental communities about additional microbial behaviors beyond gene transfer, Silberg said. So the wastewater, y'all kind of see where all this is going, how, in my opinion, that certain people maybe might assimilate right into a digital world without even knowing it. Let's continue because I have more, believe it or not. Is this one? You already did this one, so let me kill that. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. And I'll say, yep. Okay, I got these. Got to come back to these. Oh, I haven't even covered those yet. All right. You're hanging with me, so hang on. I know this is, sometimes it gets extremely technical and, a little redundant towards the end of the article. So I'm doing my best with all this information to give to you. Come on, what are you doing? Here we go. Here we go, folks. Here we go. This article is from April 7th, 2025, and this is basically the publication of what they call white paper or scientific paper. It's a research article in engineering, motion artifact controlled micro brain sensors between hair follicles for persistent augmented reality brain computer interfaces. What'd you say, Floyd? Hang on, let me butter up my throat. Floyd said, motion artifact controlled micro brain sensors between hair follicles for persistent augmented reality brain computer interfaces. Well, let's go dive in and see what that's all about. Floyd, here's the significance. This study overcomes traditional brain computer interfaces, BCI, limitations by developing motion artifact controlled micro brain sensors that integrate seamlessly between hair strands. The sensor integrated wearable system achieves ultra low impedance density and high fidelity neural signal capture for multiple hours, even during intense motion, by demonstrating continuous telecommunication using augmented reality. This advance provides a pathway for the practical and continuous use of brain computer interface, BCI, in everyday life, enhancing the integration of digital and physical environments. Would you like me to repeat that, folks? Let's continue. Abstract. Modern brain computing interfaces, BCI, utilizing electroencephalograms for bidirectional human-machine communication, face significant limitations from movement, vulnerable, rigid sensors, inconsistent skin electrode impedance, and bulky electronics, diminishing the system's continuous use and portability. Here, we introduce motion artifact controlled micro brain sensors between hair strands, enabling ultra low impedance density on skin contact for long-term usable, persistent brain computer interfacing with augmented reality, AR. An array of low-profile microstructured electrodes with a highly conductive polymer is seamlessly inserted into the space between hair follicles, offering high-fidelity neural signal capture for up to 12 hours while maintaining the lowest contact impedance density, 0.03 whatever K ohms. Listen, I failed introductory algebra 3 times. I couldn't look past the beautiful girls and the hangovers. So I'm not a math whiz. I always tell you that's my weakest point. So anyway, I don't know what that means, but you can go look it up. All right, so 12 hours while maintaining the lowest contact impedance density among reported articles. Implemented wireless BCI, brain computer interfacing. Let me repeat that. Implemented wireless brain computer interfacing, detecting steady state visually evoked potentials, offering 96.4% accuracy in signal classification with a train free algorithm, even during the subject's excessive motions, including standing, walking, and running. A demonstration captures this system's capability, showing AR-based video calling with hands-free controls using brain signals, transforming digital communication. Collectively, this research highlights the pivotal role of integrated sensors and flexible electronics technology in advancing brain-computer interfacing applications for interactive digital environments. Data, materials, and software availability. All study data are included in the article and or supporting information. Here's the acknowledgments. Here are the contributing authors, competing interests, other supporting information, and some related articles. Well, oh, it's buffering. No wonder. Play. Come on. Waiting on you. Sometime today. Well, doesn't seem to want to cooperate. See if this one will play. I didn't even know they had these. Otherwise, I'd have downloaded them so we could have played them. But you get the gist, right? So let me hit pause on that. We're going to continue. Let's see. That one was, yeah, that was the motion artifact. I'll leave that one there and we'll close that one. Let me pop this up just to show you that this is nothing new. This is the European Commission. This is an official website of the European Union, the EU. Okay. Shaping Europe's digital future. And I did brain implants. Just boom, what popped up. So July 2020, neuro nanotechnology developing brain implants. Microscale implants inside the brain to cure Parkinson's disease. That's from 2019. 2019, graphene sensors, understanding the brain. 2015, safer travels and implants with D-Psi systems. An integrated module for active medical implant funded by EC wins the 2014 3D in Cities Award. The achievement of eBrains project. And I don't know what that is, but there you go. That's what the chip looks like. And there's the match head. Final Human Brains Project Summit Achievements in Future of Digital Brain Research. That's 2023. Human Brain Project at ICT 2018. So graphene shown to safely interact with neurons in the brain. That's 2016. That's 9 years ago. So I'm going to dig into more and more of these, as you see right here. Brainiacs, brain imaging with arrays of quantum sensors. We're going to dive into all that. Next up, I told you, got a bunch of them. Injectable brain implant spies on individual neurons. And this is from 2015. And I was like, wow, 2015, 10 years ago. Almost to the date, June 8th. Let's go see what this is about, Floyd. Oh, I want to read it. Where's it at? I'm going to select this article. I'm going to read it. I don't think it'll let me. buy this article. I don't want to buy it. Yeah. So, there you go. That's what they were doing then, 10 years ago. Injectable brain implants that respond on individual neurons, folks. All right. This is some pretty crazy stuff that's going on. And these this is a European Commission Human Brain Project. This is everything that popped up. This is from October 2024. European Commission has published reports on the 10-year achievements of the Human Brain Project and the Graphene flagship European initiatives. And I have not read this yet, so I will. Human Brain Project 10-year assessment from September 2024. I'm going to go read that as well. 2023 final Human Brain Project Summit achievements in the future of brain. So here you go. Here are all the articles. So I know you're like, well, Floyd, why are you digging into all this stuff? Where are you going with this, right? Kind of what you're asking yourself. Because we already have biocomputers, which literally they've taken human brain cells and they've created biocomputers. And you can actually rent those biocomputers by the hour. Absolutely. So we're kind of there, you know. Frankenstein is, you know, I don't even know what to call it. Android, a humanoid, you know, we're in a whole new category of species. What we're doing, where we're going with this technology. And the more I dive in, the more it just gets, you know, crazier and crazier and crazier. Yeah. Here. Convenience is going to be the end of humanity. Okay. Remember that. Convenience. People are going to sell out for convenience. And obviously, you know that they don't let a good catastrophe go to waste. They have to capitalize on that. Okay. AI controlled 3D printer cooks food using graphene. Researchers at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology have used graphene to develop a new 3D printer that can make food layer by food layer as it prints, using artificial intelligence to design complex edible structures. This integrated system combines precision infrared heating with AI-driven design tools to address key limitations in automated food production, maintaining food safety during printing and creating intricate shapes without requiring technical expertise. The step-by-step food, 3D food fabricator process of printing an inline cooking device, which is A, right here. So you have food ink preparation. Oh, there we go. So that's what it looks like. So it prints it. And there it is, puts it on your plate. Wow. You could actually have 3D printed pills. You know me, man. I'm always thinking like a damn criminal. That guy comes out first. He's like, hey, look, easy money. Oh man. So here you go. Here's your food printer cooker. This is how it works. This is what it looks like. This is your this, this if the Jetsons had a kitchen, that would be it. This is what it looked like. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't think. Oh, there we go. So I'm back to where I need to be. Automated food production faces unique challenges compared to manufacturing with traditional materials like plastics or metals. Food must be heated properly to ensure safety, yet maintaining the intended shape during cooking proves difficult. Current 3D food printers operate in two separate steps. First, printing cold food paste, then transferring it to an oven or fryer. This approach often leads to deformed shapes and increased contamination risk as the food moves between machines. The new system integrates these steps using a specialized infrared heater made from laser induced graphene, LIG. This ultra thin heating element provides precise temperature control with printed food layers reaching 137 degrees Celsius. Don't ask me what that is Fahrenheit on the surface and maintaining at least 105 degrees Celsius on the sides throughout the printing process while using just 14 watts of power, a fraction of the 100 or 1,200 watts consumed by conventional ovens and air fryers. I'm sure you could throw a microwave in on that as well. Oh, there you go. I can go read the full story, but that was just one that just caught my eye as I was doing a search for graphene. Why? Graphene's stronger than steel, folks. So let's see. Graphene GPU. Graphene applications. What is graphene used for? Graphene is an atom thick. Okay, we're on the atomic level. What's that, Floyd? Pico. Oh, I thought Pico technology didn't exist. Of course not. Who am I to say that, right? I'm just a nobody. I don't have a degree. I got a technical degree in horticulture from community college. I'm a nobody. I don't know shit, right? Graphene is a one atom thick sheet of carbon atoms arranged in a honeycomb like pattern. Graphene is considered to be the world's thinnest, strongest, and most conductive material, both electricity and heat. All of these properties are exciting researchers and businesses around the world as graphene has the potential to revolutionize entire industries in the field of electricity, conductivity, energy generation, batteries, sensors, and more. Again, this article is from April 7th, 2024. I have no idea who wrote it. Maybe we'll find out at the end. But here we go. Mechanical strength. Graphene is the world's strongest material and can be used to enhance the strength of other materials. Dozens of researchers have demonstrated that adding even a trace amount of graphene to plastics, metals, or other materials can make these materials much stronger or lighter, as you can use a smaller amount of material to achieve the same strength. Such graphene-enhanced composite materials can find uses in aerospace, building materials, mobile devices, and many other applications. Thermal applications. Graphene is the most heat conductive found to date. As graphene is also strong and light, it means that it is a great material for making heat-spreading solutions, such as heat sinks or heat dissipation films. This could be useful in both microelectronics, for example, to make LED lighting more efficient and longer lasting, and also in larger applications, for example, thermal foils for mobile devices. Huawei's latest smartphones, for example, have adopted graphene-based thermal films. Energy storage. Since graphene is the world's thinnest material, it is also extremely high surface area volume to ratio. This makes graphene a very promising material for use in batteries and supercapacitors. Graphene may enable batteries and supercapacitors, even fuel cells that can store more energy, charge faster too. Coatings, sensors, electronics, and more. Graphene has a lot of promise for additional applications: anti-corrosion coatings and paints, efficient, precise sensors, fast and efficient electronics, flexible displays, efficient solar panels, faster DNA sequencing, drug delivery, and more. Graphene is such a great and basic building block that it seems that any industry can benefit from this new material. Time will tell where graphene will indeed make an impact or whether other new materials will be more suitable. So let's go watch a video. Graphene. There's a little bit about graphene. Find out where I'm at on that one. So that was on graphene, which you're going to hear more and more about as well. And I think this is the final one. It is. So allegedly, we're on a quantum financial system, right? Well, this is from September 8th, 2023 by Sylvia Cernea Clark. Rice helps lead national quantum computing research efforts. Project to help evaluate physical systems used to build quantum computers. A team of Rice University researchers have won a 4-year, $1.2 million grant from the Department of Energy to evaluate the strengths and limitations of different physical systems used to build quantum computers. Nihaitia, I hope I pronounced that right, Caden Hazard, and Kevin Slagle will use theory, numerical simulations, and quantum hardware-run algorithms to provide a framework for comparing the viability and computational potential of different approaches to building quantum computers to help achieve near-term advances in quantum computing. Their project is one of 6 selected by the DOE to improve our understanding of whether, when, and how quantum computing might advance the frontiers of computational science, according to the agency. We haven't yet identified the best physical architecture to build a full-fledged quantum computer, but there are several different ways to get there. Hold on, let me repeat that. what he just said, okay? We haven't yet identified the best physical architecture to build a full-fledged quantum computer, but there are several different ways to get there, said Chia, an assistant professor of computer science. This project aims to use mathematical models to figure out the different drawbacks or benefits involved with each option and to identify which architecture has the potential to lead to a near-term quantum advantage. Hazard, an associate professor of physics and astronomy, added that there may be more than a single answer to this question. Maybe some physical systems are better for some types of computing tasks than others, Hazard said. The question we're asking is for the types of algorithms we know quantum computers could be good at. Are some architectures going to be better than others? Or how should you best embrace the capabilities of the different architectures? Interest in quantum computing has grown over the past decade due to advances in the experimental design of quantum systems that have made them more feasible. For decades, quantum computing research was a backwater that had almost no funding and just a few people working on it in the fringes, said Hazard. Quantum systems are very fragile and difficult to control, but once advances hit a certain threshold 10 to 15 years ago, interest surged, motivated by potential applications to simulation and sensing and understanding materials and chemical reactions. Quantum computing could shed light on quantum level phenomena like protein folding or catalytic reactions that remain beyond the computing capabilities of digital technology. Just so you know, they've already mastered protein folding. Okay, we've already crossed that hurdle. If you watch my show, you know that. From drug design to sustainability solutions, the possibilities of this new technological frontier have piqued the interest of a growing number of actors. A lot of funding has been going into quantum computing recently, said Slagle, an assistant professor of electrical and computing engineering. There are many more startups now than there were 5 years ago, and this is just getting started. Even though efforts to turn quantum computing from fledgling potential to robust capability have picked up momentum, it's still too early to tell what a quantum future might look like, Slagle added. We know quantum computers will likely be very useful for simulating quantum mechanics, he said. But as was the case with classical computers in the beginning, it's difficult to say what the most important applications will be. Researchers will collaborate with Guido Pagano, assistant professor of physics and astronomy at Rice, and Norbert Link, adjunct assistant professor of physics at the University of Maryland, to test their evaluative framework on current quantum systems. Pagano works with trapped atomic ions. Okay, he works on the picoscale. One of the most popular candidates to perform quantum algorithms, and received a DOE Early Career Research Award to build a trapped ion quantum system for the analog simulation of nuclear physics models. He did what? He won an award to build a trapped ion quantum system for the analog simulation of nuclear physics models. How's that for a pickup line? I look forward to the collaboration with this newly formed DOE team on quantum architectures, Pagano said. The researchers will also provide opportunities to students to learn about and participate in quantum research. I want to remove barriers to entering the quantum computing field because I think many computer science students, for instance, may shy away from quantum computing thinking they need a strong physics background to understand it, but that's not necessarily the case, Chia said. I want to create courses that build on students' strengths and allow them to engage with the subject. Chia, Hazard, Slagle were hired as part of the Quantum Initiative, and their grant proposal was supported in part by Smalley Curl Institute at Rice. This was written by Sylvia Cernea Clark, and I'm going to go dig through her articles as well and possibly have her on the show as a guest as well. So there are your three guys, Slagle, Hazard, Chia. All right. And to close out the show, Hello. Thank you. Stupid ass YouTube. All right. Whew. Sorry about that. So, I think about a week ago, I did a video. The show was Don't Sleep on Taiwan. Why? Because Taiwan is the artificial intelligence and robotic hub of the world. So don't sleep on Taiwan. Why? Well, let's go find out, Floyd.
Any attempt by Communist China to conquer Taiwan by force would result in devastating consequences for the Indo-Pacific and the world. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. The threat China poses is real, and it could be imminent. Deterrence starts in our own backyard. But beyond our borders and beyond our neighborhood, we are reorienting toward deterring aggression by Communist China. Asian allies should look to countries in Europe as a newfound example. NATO members are pledging to spend 5% of their GDP on defense, even Germany. So it doesn't make sense for countries in Europe to do that while key allies in Asia spend less on defense in the face of an even more formidable threat, not to mention North Korea. We're not here to preach to you about climate change or cultural issues. We're not here to impose our will on you. We are all sovereign nations. We should be able to choose the future we want to build. We respect you, your traditions, and your militaries. And we want to work with you where our shared interests align for peace and prosperity. We're doing this here in the Indo-Pacific in 3 distinct ways. And forgive me as I go into a little bit of detail. First, by improving our forward force posture. Second, by helping allies and partners strengthen their defense capabilities. And third, by rebuilding defense industrial bases. So first, the Defense Department is prioritizing forward postured, combat credible forces in the Western Pacific to deter by denial along the first and second island chains. In my first trip to the Indo-Pacific in March, I traveled to the Philippines to meet with President Marcos and Secretary of National Defense Teodoro. While there, we announced our commitment to deploy more advanced U.S. military capabilities to the Philippines. We announced the inaugural overseas deployment of Nemesis, a U.S. Marine Corps mobile anti-ship missile system to the Philippines. The 3rd Marine Littoral Regiment, one of the U.S. military's most capable and lethal formations, exercised Nemesis along with our Philippine allies. Together, we deployed the system to the Batanes Islands on the Luzon Strait between the Philippines and Taiwan. This enhanced our interoperability and improved our readiness on cutting-edge platforms, where we need them and when we need them. We also announced that the U.S. Special Operations Forces and Philippine Marines are training together on complex landing scenarios in the Batanes Islands. This demonstrates that our forces can conduct high-end operations in the most challenging of environments. I also had a chance to visit Tokyo and meet with Prime Minister Ishiba and Defense Minister Nakatani. We announced that we're upgrading U.S. Forces Japan headquarters. This is about warfighting and deterrence, as well as common sense. Upgrading USFJ demonstrates the significant work of the U.S.-Japan alliance as it evolves to emerging threats. It also reflects the progress the alliance has made toward improving interoperability and strengthening Japan's capabilities. And this summer, the U.S. Army has plans to conduct its first ever live fire test of its mid-range capability system in Australia. This will be the first time that system is fired west of the international date line. The first time it's been tested on foreign soil. Deployments like this represent a commitment to the region, and there are many more planned. On the home front, the Golden Dome for America will protect the U.S. homeland against a catastrophic missile attack by adversaries. We will strengthen missile defenses for the U.S. homeland as we look for ways to improve regional missile defenses right here in the Indo-Pacific. We're also using regional integrated air and missile defense, and we're deploying several key missile defense technologies and data sharing partnerships with Japan and Australia, leveraging America's best-in-class technologies to strengthen regional air and missile defense architectures. Second, we're supporting allies and partners as they strengthen their own defense capabilities and capacity. We want to empower you as partners, not dependents, to work more capably with the United States. We're working to rapidly deliver the kinds of off-the-shelf, innovative, autonomous systems for which the American defense industry is renowned. It's why the department partnered with U.S. industry to launch the Maritime Security Consortium. This consortium will build and sustain maritime domain awareness to deliver real operational effects by employing unmanned aircrafts and vessels. These capabilities delivered quickly and at a lower cost give a cutting-edge advantage to the hands of warfighters and our defense partners in Southeast Asia. A critical part of working with our partners is increasing interoperability, learning how to sail, fly, and fight as one. This year's Balikatan exercise in the Philippines was the largest ever. In the South China Sea, we continue to conduct regular maritime activities alongside Australia, Japan, and the Philippines. We're also expanding our security partnership with India through robust military exercises like Tiger Triumph. And we're also amplifying cooperation within the Quad and other multilateral frameworks. Within the Quad, we're also leading an initiative called the Indo-Pacific Logistics Network, enabling Quad partners to leverage shared logistics capabilities in the Indo-Pacific. You know, they say rookies talk strategy, pros talk logistics. And we're grateful for the opportunity to train with all our allies in the region in other exercises like Talisman Sabre with Australia and Cobra Gold in Thailand. These exercises enhance our lethality while improving our readiness to respond at a moment's notice. And that was certainly put into practice last March with the Thai military in response to the earthquake there. Flying and sailing and operating together in peacetime ensures we are prepared for the unexpected. And third, we are revitalizing our defense industrial bases and reallocating resources toward the most lethal and effective capabilities. We're doing this because success of the warfighters requires it. It's one thing for an adversary to see multinational forces operating together in exercises. It's another thing entirely for that same country to see an integrated defense industrial base supporting those forces and standing ready to keep them in the fight. That's why we are pleased to endorse the Partnership for Indo-Pacific Industrial Resilience, also known as PIPER, a U.S.-initiated multilateral forum of 14 allies and partners working with industry, capital providers, and key non-governmental stakeholders to strengthen industrial resilience, expand our capacity, and accelerate deliveries. So today I'm proud to announce the first PIPER projects. The first project plans to establish repair capability and capacity for P-8 radar systems in Australia. It'll also enable Indo-Pacific allies and partners operating the aircraft, including New Zealand and the Republic of Korea, to repair aircraft within the region, rather than relying on single repair sources in the continental United States. The second is a project that will develop standards for small unmanned aerial systems across the Indo-Pacific, identifying secure sources of production where they're critical components, and increasing global supply chain resilience for these essential systems. Similarly, we are working through our regional sustainment framework to do things like expand existing contracts for U.S. Army watercraft repair. The goal of this initiative is to bring in more providers and expand existing repair capability more broadly across the Indo-Pacific. We'll also use our allies' world-class ship repair capabilities to enhance the U.S. Navy's operational effectiveness to save taxpayers money. These moves will strengthen regional resiliency by increasing access to repair capabilities in theater and reducing dependency on faraway supply chains. We're deepening our cooperation with Australia's Guided Weapons and Explosive Ordnance Enterprise with historic momentum and purpose. This work secures our technological edge and makes our munition supply chains resilient. In the last 2 months, we've reached an agreement for Australia to produce 155 millimeter ammunition and to assemble guided multiple launch rocket systems, or GMLRS. These steps enhance our readiness and facilitate upgrades to our collective defense industrial base. And we're working with India to co-produce equipment needed to deter aggression. And this includes negotiating an agreement to bring our industrial bases ever closer. Last month, we held our first ever US-India industry government experts exchange to produce and field state-of-the-art autonomous systems as part of the US-India Autonomous Systems Industry Alliance. So across the board, the United States, our allies, and our partners have made great progress in these and many other areas towards achieving peace through strength, but we have to move quickly, and we have no time to waste. So as I conclude, it is with sage leadership and strategic vision and a sense of urgency that Lee Kuan Yew turned Singapore into one of the world's great success stories. Many call it the Singapore miracle. That's what common sense policies can achieve. And that's precisely what President Trump's vision is all about. President Trump is a leader of peace, a man of peace, a force for peace. And together we will achieve that peace through strength, reestablishing deterrence, sharing our burdens, multiplying our strengths, reinforcing our great alliances, respecting our cultures, not starting wars, but preventing them, and building a better future for our nations, for our mutual benefit.
And there's a little update on exactly what the United States is doing about Taiwan. So they are strengthening everything up there in the Pacific, as far as their current military bases, their agreements with other militaries of those countries. And, you know, Japan's in pretty dire straits. You know how Trump is. He might want to, hey, USA needs its own little private island called Japan. He wants Canada, he wouldn't mind taking over Mexico as well and just making it one big happy family. And there's Australia, rumors about England. Who knows what's going on? But again, thank you for spending your Saturday night with me. My sale runs to midnight, but I'm not going to stay up at midnight and be on my website to shut the sale down. So if you're looking for a sale, 50% off certain products, hey, now's the time to get them. If there's nothing there that you like, hit me up, man. Send me a direct message. If I get it before midnight, I'll honor it tomorrow during the day when we can take care of business. Or it can wait till Monday. I'm not tripping. But if you hit me up before midnight tonight, I'll honor. Doesn't matter what you want. Just say, hey, I'd like to take advantage of it, but I don't know what I want yet. I'm good with that. That's how simple I work. I was going to give away some free merchandise, but again, I forgot. I got tied up in the minutia of actually paying attention to the show, everything that was going on. So it's it's an interesting world that we live in now, where your television, your smart TV, your smart remote, they're spying on you. They're selling your information. And you're paying them to sell your information. I know, isn't that crazy? That's why they give away a lot of stuff for free, and it's out of convenience. So there's going to be a real issue with humanity surrendering their existence for convenience. Imagine not having to sit down or even pick up your phone and go, "Hey Samantha, what's the tallest mountain in the world?" And you're listening to the point where all you gotta do is think it and you already get the answer because you have a brain implant. You're connected to the internet, that you don't even need this anymore. You can just think it. Call my mom. Boom. And you hear your mom in your head. And you're having a conversation with your mom. And you're just thinking what you're going to say. And it translates it for you. You don't even have to speak anymore. And then you're in a digital world. That's where we're going, folks. Complementary DNA, synthetic DNA, cat DNA. Where are we going? Who's like going, hey, don't we need to regulate this before it just like gets out of hand? But we expect our legislators to do that, the people that we put in our state to represent us, people we put in our county or our city, heaven forbid that thing called Congress. And we expect them to be up to date and on the cutting edge and protecting us, right? Isn't that what they're there for, to represent us? And they're not. Gotta go. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe. Be happy. I don't know if I'll do a show tomorrow, but I'll definitely be back Monday at 6 p.m. live. And I have no idea what I'm going to talk about again. But I got some stuff in the can, so we'll see. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, leave a comment below. FearlessFloydShow.com, FearlessFloydShow at Yahoo.com is my email. Come check me out. Get you some. Thank you for hanging around after the show. I want to present to you Tailor Made Trust, featuring Ann LaFleur's Trust Series, available at tailormadetrust.com, as well as the fearlessfloydshow.com store. Here are a handful of the available trusts that can be built, custom tailored to your needs and desires. 25 different trusts, plus the DNA trust addendum. And as always, Ann LaFleur's classic trusts and ancillary classes, and also Ann's books on trust and specialty trust, which I also co-authored. If you'd like to get a class, a book, or have a trust custom built for you, always available at the fearlessfloydshow.com store. and I'll see you in the next show. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day.